was all part of the Society of Broccoli's plan. Long envious of mankind's dominance of planet Earth, they had quite correctly identified me as holding the key to humanity's power. It was thus that Xadenfer was specially recruited from the best and the greenest of all the broccoli stalks to be the soldier to take on such a serious reconnaissance mission. Xadenfer had demonstrated exceptional ability in his emergence from the soil. His bloom was tremendous, and at harvest time he ranked top in his field. It was through the spies of the treacherous League of Cauliflower, the Society's longtime rivals, that I later learned of the caper I will describe. Xadenfer had arrived in a bushel box at Hart's local grocer's, conveniently within a mile of my apartment. It was there that he was promoted to the top of the pile in the fresh veggie aisle, and it was the Society that put up the half-price special broccoli sign that, knowing I couldn't say no to a deal. A hazy mist drifted down from the automated sprayer. Xadenfer knew fully the ramifications of this mission. His compatriots below him, propping him up on the pile, had better odds. They may be purchased by an ambitious but ultimately lazy cook, who would have grabbed this or that stalk with visions of Pinterest casseroles that will never come to fruition. These stalks of broccoli, many who had been Xadenfer's neighbors back at Willow Farm, may be destined for cool but easy lives, untouched in refrigerators. Then they would be deemed rotten and allowed to live the rest of their lives in the sun on piles of other such trash. But Xadenfer's fate was sealed as my hand reached for its wet green florets. The death sentence upheld, Xadenfer was transferred from shopping basket to shopping bag and from automobile to refrigerator like a processed convict. There would be no call from the governor, as only a day later he found his head on the chopping block. My roommate kept her knife in impeccable shape. It had been blooded on all the members of the plant kingdom. Its wedding stones had been every shade of pepper, each imaginable tuber, and an unknown number of broccoli heads. On the comically hen-shaped plastic cutting board, he was placed with tenderness. My roommate has respect for the materials of her creations. As such, the first cut was no hack, but a quick, smooth break. Xadenfer felt little, but saw with disconnected terror that his stalk and head had been separated. What a strange feeling it must be to simultaneously see yourself in two different places. Surely the human mind cannot handle such a proposition. However, what humans could comprehend was far from Xadenfer's mind. He now found his well-cultivated head under attack from a whirl of knife blows. Just as he was coming to grips with being slashed to a few dozen pieces, the floor beneath him gave way and he tumbled onto a heated metal surface. Similarly sliced red peppers danced on top of searing oil, screaming in their exotic tongue. Xadenfer was thrown about, losing track of all his various parts in the mix of oil, salt, and pepper. A brown flow of peanut sauce snowed down from the heavens, blanketing all around him, and it was dark. Regaining consciousness, Xadenfer found himself, that is to say, part of himself, laying on a warm bed of white rice. The peanut sauce was sticky against his body, but he felt a relative calmness. Looking up at the plastered ceiling, my face came into view, a much more ominous figure than I would have ever imagined myself to be. I complimented my roommate on the spicy aroma of her creation, noting how eager I was to dig in. I am sure it was garbled nonsense to Xadenfer, or perhaps like the boom of rolling thunder. I looked down at that bowl of Thai food without a care in the world. Just another happy night in our apartment. With each stab of the fork and bite of the teeth, Xadenfer was removed dramatically from this world. Down to the dark passages in my chest he went. He bounced off esophagus walls and ran to log jams of rice before a downspout of water cleared the passages. What seemed like a long time passed before he sunk into my stomach. The acids burned him at first, before a numbing feeling took over his body. Xadenfer, the bravest broccoli stalk to ever come out of the sun-drenched fields of Willow Farms, was dead. His purpose served. We live in an incredibly connected world, a fact that we humans acknowledge but rarely consider. This has always been to our detriment, and at root it may be the cause of all that we suffer from. The plants, the water, the soil, and the air are all well aware of this interconnectedness. Without TVs, traffic jams, corporate ladders, and election cycles, there are only the elements around you. It is true what they say about there being nothing new under the sun. Xadenfer was no longer Xadenfer, not as we knew him. His soul had passed to the great beyond, wherever you would like to believe that to be. But through my digestive system, the Monroe County waste treatment plants, and back into the Great Lakes, with the cells that had made up that broccoli hero. From Lake Ontario, many of these precious cells were plucked out like netted fish, sucked into the sky by nimbostratus clouds. The thick, gray package of life tumbled out above land, and much of what had been Xadenfer found itself raining down into our aquifers. Sipping tea while reading this, you may even have a bit of him clinging to your teeth. Inevitably, the robotic arms that shoot out water to the massive fields of food we cultivate would spray their precious cargo onto hungry broccoli. The data that Xadenfer collected as a passenger through my system was read by eager sentinels, and that vital knowledge was passed root to the broccoli commanders. It was a clever trick that the Society of Broccoli pulled, a high-risk plan executed to perfection. Our only hope now resides in the conniving of the League of Cauliflower. If they cannot find an answer to the daring tactics of the Society, their eternal stalemate may be broken. If they win the war over their pasty cousins, broccoli may take the fight to other species. Indeed, in not so distant future, our great-grandchildren may find themselves ruled by broccoli overlords.